evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. A prominent minister in the Ford cabinet made a trip to Thunder Bay this week to announce $29 million in funding to protect boreal caribou. During the visit, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks David Piccini also spoke to the benefits he believes will come with the proposed Northern Road Link project. The road would be between 120 and 160 kilometers long, connecting the proposed Martin Falls Community Access Road and the Webequie Supply Road to the rich mining area. Early assessments of the project found there would be environmental impacts to a number of animal and fish species. Piccini recognizes the impact, but stresses the project would lead to future environmental benefits.
Why did we attract Volkswagen? Because they know when they go to the United States, they're getting their energy off coal. When they come here, they're not. So we can't say that and not connect the critical minerals in the north to produce the batteries that are going to power electric vehicles of tomorrow. So it's not an either or.
The Northern Road Link project remains divisive, with Nescantica First Nation continuing to voice its opposition. A day after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against him, Russian President Vladimir Putin made a defiant visit to the first region of Ukraine his country invaded. As CTV's Glenn McGregor reports, the number of countries he can safely visit is now sharply reduced.
9 years to the day after Russia annexed Crimea, small celebrations by those who support the invasion and the president who led it. Vladimir Putin today made a surprise visit to the region, touring an art school accompanied by the Russian-installed governor, and undeterred by an arrest warrant for war crimes, issued yesterday by the International Criminal Court in The Hague. In Donetsk region, his backers scoffed at the warrant. Absolutely no one would dare to arrest him, this man says. No one would have the guts. The Hague's charges show their fear of him, she says, but he's not afraid of them. The court also issued a warrant for Maria Lvova-Belova, the official accused of overseeing the forced deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia. They both face arrest in the unlikely event they travel to any one of the 123 criminal court member countries.
That means he's going to be spending the rest of his life in Russia, maybe visiting China and North Korea, maybe Syria and Iran. It's really hard to be an effective leader when you're so constrained.
The Kremlin calls the warrant null and void, but the court's chief prosecutor warned more charges over the war could be coming.
You can't rape, you can't attack civilian objects, you can't attack civilians, you can't execute people that have laid down their arms.
Canada is among the countries supporting the court's decision and condemning what it calls Putin's egregious acts. Ukraine estimates 16,000 children were forcibly taken to Russian territory. Glenn McGregor, CTV News, Ottawa.
Transport carrying an oversized load caused some major delays at the intersection of Highway 17 and Red River Road at around 4:30 p.m. after the cargo hit a traffic light while turning from the eastbound lane of Red River Road onto Highway 1117. OPP say the light luckily fell between two vehicles trailing the transport, so there were no injuries or further damage. Traffic is mostly back up and running, but the westbound left turning lane of Highway 17 is still blocked at the intersection of Red River Road due to the downed traffic light. Officials with the Rainy River DSAP are hopeful that a new dispatch system will help improve ambulance response times in the district. The EMS there is facing difficulty recruiting new paramedics, with current staff working hard to cover the shortage. Lee Noonan has more.
Land ambulance response times in the 15,000 square kilometers of the Rainy River District are often a function of distance rather than call volume, which they might be in denser urban areas. That's according to Dan McCormick, CAO of the Rainy River District Services Board.
If we end up with a call to a remote station such as a First Nation on the outside of the district, you could be looking at an hour and a half just in driving time.
According to the most recent numbers available, response times in Rainy River averaged just over 15 minutes in 2021. McCormick hopes a new dispatch system will make a big difference, saying the dispatch algorithm currently used there and most of the province is over-prioritizing about 60% of calls.
So that means we're running lights and siren to these calls. When you get there, you find, no, this wasn't an emergency call.
McCormick says staff are now being trained on the new system, MPDS, which prioritizes calls more accurately. He expects the system to be rolled out within the next couple months.
So right now, if we're dispatched on a high priority call, we can't leave that call until we get to that patient. And then by then, it's too late to divert to the other call. So you're tying up resources 60% of the time for something that probably didn't need that high acuity response.
McCormick credits local paramedics for stepping up and working the overtime needed to keep each of the district's 4 EMS stations staffed 24/7, despite being shorthanded. The 4 crews share the load for the whole district, and when more than one call comes into the same station, the next closest ambulance is dispatched. If all 4 were busy at the same time, an ambulance would be dispatched from a different EMS service.
If there was a disaster, for example, in Dryden, they could pull some of our ambulances in there to respond, a plane crash or something like that. Similarly, for our area, if we get short-staffed, they can send Nestor Falls, Sioux Narrows, Ignis, Dryden down to assist us as well.
McCormick says that calls outside the district are very rare, although he has seen an increase as neighboring areas also face staffing shortages. Indeed, a province-wide paramedic shortage is affecting recruitment here in Rainy River. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
One of Terrace Bay Fire Services' older engines was coming to the end of its 25-year lifespan a few years ago. That prompted a committee made up of local firefighters to deliver a proposal to their town council for the purchase of a replacement vehicle, and now fire engine number 1 has been delivered to the station. The cost of the truck was mainly subsidized by funds derived from external calls to the department, and all but $20,000 of the $560,000 price tag was covered. The new engine brings with it an increase in efficiency and a wider range of capabilities. Chief Ryan Bolin says it also brings safer working conditions for staff and new features that improve their ability to respond efficiently. Bolin says they're excited to be finally celebrating the arrival of engine number 1.
It carries more water than our previous fire truck. Our previous fire truck had a 600 gallons. This is 1,000 imperial gallons. It has a larger pump on board and a lot more storage space for what our growing department needs.
The firefighters will spend the next few months getting used to the new fire engine. The Thunder Bay Mosque held an open house today where members of the community were invited to visit the space and were given a brief introduction to the Islamic religion. Jessica Clement reports.
Over 25 people came out for the open house, many of whom had never been in a mosque before. Attendees were able to speak to mosque members and ask questions, listen to a brief introduction to Islam presented by the Imam, and try foods from various Islamic countries. Mosque member Mohammed El-Shafei says they really wanted to meet the community, teach them about what Islam really is, and clear up any misconceptions.
We believe that the image of Islam introduced to through social media is not fair, so we are trying to present Islam as it is. And I think if the audience ends with today with like this image, this actual image of Islam, so we are more than happy to deliver this message only.
The Thunder Bay Masjid is the only mosque in the city, and El-Shafei says while there isn't exactly a large Islamic population in the city, it is growing.
You can say every week or every month, maybe one person comes to our place. Most of them are interested to see more about Islam, and even some of them actually be with us here in the masjid.
The event was open to all members of the community. Cynthia Cooper says she came out to meet the Islam community and learn what the religion is all about.
I go to a church in the neighborhood, St. Michael and All Angels, and I figured that it's good to know our neighbors and to be inclusive of everybody. And I really don't know a lot about this religion and the church, and I thought this was my opportunity to come and meet the people. And so far, as I was coming in, a wonderful gentleman just answered a couple of my questions and directed me in the right place, and I've so far enjoyed it.
El-Shafei says they're planning on having more open houses in the future, and more information about dates and times can be found on the mosque's Facebook page. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
It's a fun opportunity to learn more about a great hobby as the Thunder Bay Model Railroaders held open houses over the March break. The group is hoping to get more kids involved, and they're currently organizing a junior railroaders group. The open houses feature the hard work put in by the railroaders at their new location on East Victoria Avenue. More features are being added to their displays every day. The group currently has around 25 members, all dedicated to their craft. Club Secretary Don Hoopy explains what's so appealing about the hobby that he believes people of all ages will enjoy.
Amazing. When I was a kid, forward and back, I was happy. Now I can run 8 trains on the same piece of track. Computer controls, I can ring the bell, blow the horn on steam trains, blow the whistle. There's a number of things you can do with them that to program to act like a real locomotive.
It makes you believe that they're a lot smaller, but you still believe that they're looking like a real train.
Anyone interested in learning more can go to the Thunder Bay Model Railroaders Facebook page, as there's plenty of information, including news on the upcoming Junior Railroaders group. We're now joined by sports anchor Mike Lang. We go from some miniature trains to one of the biggest sports in the world, hockey.
Yes, unfortunately, the Walleye game yesterday was canceled due to the inclement weather, but the Jets and the Minnesota Wild were both in action. We'll have those stories and more coming right up.